All right, Rob, let's get it started. Of course, the big news still in the NBA is that Damian Lillard has not yet been traded, and he wants to be traded to one team and one team only, the Miami Heat. That's reported all over the place. And Rob G dug up some Instagram stuff, an Instagram kind of quarrel, I guess, if you want to call it that, or back and forth from way back. Rob G, what was that, 2017? No, 2019?
2020.
2020, when Kawhi Leonard and Paul George
this was
up.
Following I believe it was in the bubble, and it was the Blazers against the Clippers. And if you recall, Dame Dollar, it is Dame time, tapping at his wrist. He missed a couple of clutch free throws.
I remember that.
Cost him the game, and they were letting him hear about it, right? So Dame told Bleacher Report after the game, I take that as a sign of respect that they're having this much joy of watching me miss these free throws. Pat Bev, as he's been wont to do, was the first person to comment on it. Put Cancun on 3 with 3 laughing emojis. Paul George doubles down right after. And y'all getting sent home this year, respect with a fist. And this is where Dame Dollar took it to a whole new level. Directly responding to Paul George on the Instagram comments. Keep switching teams, running from the grind. You boys is chumps.
Well, look, let me say this. I have no problem with Damian Lillard asking for a trade. In fact, it's time. It's been time. He gave them more than enough time. We all could see that they weren't going to be a contender anytime soon. And he waited until he just couldn't wait any longer. And it was clear that they're in a rebuild. And to be honest, this is better for them. It's better for him, and it's better for them if they part ways from a basketball standpoint. All right. And so like I said, I don't have any problem with him requesting a trade or demanding a trade, however you want to put it. I don't even have a problem with him giving them a list of teams he'd like to go to. We've seen that happen. Kyrie and others have given teams lists. But to give them one team and one team only that you want to go to, tell them it's number one on your list. But to give them one team and one team only, and to say, and I want Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler to be there when I go there, that can be construed as running from the grind. Why? Like, give them a list. And Rob, this is, I think it is not a good look for Dame when you consider that Rob G just read what he put out there in the bubble. And, this is kind of what he's been critical of other players before for doing this. And now he's doing it. Again, give him a list. I'm good. But just one place. And we've talked about it, how they don't owe him. I mean, if the Heat gives them a great deal, Rob, and it's a 3 or 4 team deal or what have you, fine. But I'm sorry, any front office worth its salt does not just kowtow and take a bad deal or a deal it doesn't want to do just to send the player where he wants to go.
Why am I not surprised that Damian Lillard is a hypocrite? It was one thing when other people were doing it and you were pointing your finger and stubbing your nose down, looking down on people saying, I'm in the grind. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, organically. And now he's turned into a dictator. And the Portland Trailblazers are supposed to bow down to a guy who never won them anything. Let's just keep it real, Chris. What have you won to demand that they give you what you want? They gave you a ton of money. You should have opted out before you signed your extension. Go somewhere else if you didn't want to be there. It is the ultimate to talk about what other people have done and then to do the same damn thing. Really?
And
Dame is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He is, Chris. He was supposed to be different. Dame is so different. He's a loyal guy. He's okay with being a big fish in the small pond in Portland. He loves the Nike factory and the prime rib that they sell there in Portland. I'm just saying. And instead, when it came his turn, he stuck out his chest, put on some high heel sneakers, and did the same thing everybody else is doing. Dame Dollar, I'm sorry. You should be Dame 50 Cent, because you ain't all the way there. You have decided to join the dark side, the evil empire, and it's okay. It just is much better if you didn't have that little Twitter battle and where you were trying to be self-righteous and tell everybody else what they were doing, Chris. That's the issue I have. Yeah. If he didn't go that route, do what you want. But now all of a sudden, with your biological championship clock ticking, you want everybody to bend over 8 ways to make your life better and do what you want? I'm sorry. If I'm the Portland Trailblazers, Chris, I might hold on to them or do something else just to spite them. Because you just said it. To pick one team and handcuff them and put them in a situation where they have no leverage, zero leverage. He could say that's my first choice, but you got to give me more than one choice. That ain't fair.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rob, and they could, look, the teams with a ton of draft picks, Utah, the Knicks. There's some teams out here that he doesn't want to go to. Mainly Utah, I imagine. Now, he did play his college ball in Utah at Weber State. And I'm not even saying they should send him there. But, Rob, what I think has to happen is they need to sit down, Dame and the Blazers, and they need to tell him, look, I'm sure they'd send him to Miami with no problem if they could get a deal they like. But if not, I think they got to say, look, we're not trading you for a bad deal. And so here's some teams, and here's what we can get from them. How do you feel about this place and that place? Like they can work with him, but he's got to work with them because, Rob, this is not all about Damian Lillard. And to your point, I mean, Dame has been the loyal guy, in the past and, loyal to the franchise. And now all of a sudden, you're going from being selfless to selfish? Like it is, like you're the only one in this whole scenario, right? Like, what about Chauncey Billups? If he gets they can do a bad deal just for you and the team's bad, he could get fired. What about your teammates who won't win without a good deal? What about the front office? The fans? I believe he does love those fans. What about them? Like, again, you can work with each other. But you are not the only one in the situation. And then, Rob, to top it off, it's not just the one team, but it's not just that you want them to keep their 2 superstars, too. It is that is a team that was in the finals a couple months ago. Less than that. A month ago.
I was going to say, it hadn't even been that long.
Right. In the NBA Finals. So, grind, they were right there. 2 of the last 4 years.
You ain't grinding. You hopping on the turnip truck, Chris. The turnip truck's been driving. Man. You're hopping on in the last 3 miles before it crosses the finish line. Really?
That's what I don't like,
and
man.
that's the other thing, too.
Don't make it just that's the only place. There's 32 NBA teams, several of them with you could win a championship or at least come close and compete for one. And you're narrowing it down to one? Come on, man.